Chris here, taking a look at a city e-bike. Now this particular model here is the Eleglide T1 Step-Thru. Obviously the Step-Thru name because of the design of it. You can simply just step through it to easily get on top of the seat. This bike has 27.5-inch rims and a large 12.5 amp hour battery, which should give us a range, they claim, up to 100 kilometers. That's a lot, but I'll of course be testing that out. It does have LED tail light, headlight, front shock, mechanical disc brakes 160 millimeter, and it does have a weight of 24 kilos, which is pretty standard for a bike of this size. Now the gears on it, they are Shimano. We've got 7 of them and a peak 500 watt rear hub motor that is powering us along to the top speed of 25 kilometers per hour, which is of course the legal limit here in Europe. So I'm quite impressed with the build quality of this bike, that it is very good. The paint job looks great. There are no rough edges, there's no spots on it, and it does look to have at least 2, maybe 3 coats of paint. The T1 Step-Thru does come with a bike rack, as you can see, and it has mud guards. Our kickstand, it's sturdy and the bike hasn't fallen over yet, and it has been quite windy some days. On the back of that bike rack, we've got a reflector and a tail light. Now this is a hardwired one, so it's not running off batteries. You don't have to worry about replacing those. And it's bright enough and good, of course, for safety. Headlight at the front is a very common LED headlight that I've seen on many different brands. Now this is reasonably bright. It's not the brightest, but it's sufficient enough, and it does come with a reflector. So our brakes are 160 millimeter mechanical disc brakes, very standard. Now, I'll be doing a braking test later on, but I do believe at this price point, especially when you get over €1,000 or $1,000 US, it should come with hydraulic disc brakes. The front hub uses a quick release, and what I do like about it is it's quite a thick hub here. It's not that typical thin one that you normally do see on these e-bikes. As you can clearly see, it does come with a front shock. Now, you are getting at least around about 3, maybe 3.5 inches of travel. I don't find the shock is bad at all. Better than nothing, of course. And you can lock it out. There is a lock at the top. This bike does have a removable battery. It's 12.5 amp hours, very easy to clip it in. That's 450 watt hours, and they do claim up to 100 kilometer range. Now you do have a status indicator right here. The charging port has a little waterproof cap over it, so no rain's going to get into that or any dirt or anything. Charge time is approximately 6 hours. Something else that is very standard here is our cassette and the derailleur. This is Shimano's tourney for the gears, so 7 speeds, and we have a 500 watt motor. That's 500 watts peak, and 50 Newton meters is the maximum output of torque, which isn't too bad, and I'll be doing a climbing test later on in this video. For our pedals, we have some Wellgo pedals, so they are a known brand of pedal, and we do have a chain guard protector around the front crank. This bike caters for rider heights from 155 centimeters to 195 with its adjustable quick release seat post. And our seat, it's a Sally Royale brand seat. It's wide, it is comfortable, and I've had no problems with it. The handlebar height is adjustable here, so you can bring it up or down a little if you want. And we have probably one of the clearest displays that I've ever seen in an e-bike. It's very good. You can see it right now in direct sunlight, and the good part is it is also backlit, so riding at night this thing glows. You can see all the information you need. So we do have our plus and minus buttons right here, so that's to go up the pedal assist levels right up to level 5. That's the maximum 500 watts. In fact, it goes just over that, around 550 according to the display. The display you can cycle through trip, odometer, our average speed, maximum speed, time, the calories, and our power that we are pulling from that rear hub motor. So it does have this, an accelerator, which is an optional install. It doesn't come installed, but you can put it on. I've just put it on for the purposes of this review. Later on, I will end up removing that. We have a bell, which is loud enough. And then our shifter on the right hand side, that's your typical Shimano shifter there. And the gears, the changes are good. They're nice and clean and crisp. No grating of gears, no issues. Eleglide did not use lock grips for our grips here, so you can see they move about a little bit, which is a minor complaint from me. I would have preferred lock grips, and I would probably swap these out for some lock grips so they don't move about on me. Then lastly, our tyres. These are some CST Classic Otis tyres. Now they are e-bike approved for 25 kilometers per hour. They do have a tread pattern that I really do like. It's low rolling resistance, and the size of them are 27.5 by 1.75 tyres. And what is it like riding now the Eleglide T1 Step-Thru? So obviously it's called a Step-Thru because of the style of bar that you can easily just go straight through like that, step through it, and very easy. Now the rider position I like. On this style of bike, it's not actually really my style of bike, but I can see why people would go for it for a city bike, because you are very upright, you've got a straight back, you're not leaning down, you're not leaning over, and you won't end up giving yourself a sore back, which is really good. I can't say the same about my Trek mountain bike, which is a Trek Rail 5 that I own, 2021 model. I'm leaning right over, but it's a completely different style of bike, of course. So it does use a speed sensor, unfortunately not a torque sensor, but it kicks in reasonably quick. Some bikes are very slow, but this one doesn't seem bad at all. Gear changes, they are smooth, typical Shimano here. If it's aligned correctly, it has not been knocked in the box, then those shifts will be crisp and great. So up to 25 kilometers per hour in pedal assist level 5. It rolls really nicely, very smooth, the ride, and very comfortable. The front shock I will test out a little later on once I get to the coast, which is about a 6-kilometer ride away. Another thing about these tyres that I really do like from CST is that they make very little noise, and that to me tells me the rolling resistance on them is really good, because the louder the tyre, the more noise they make, the worse the rolling resistance, like the knobbly tyres. Another thing I do like with this bike is that the motor's not really that loud, and I do like the fact that the speed sensor kicks in around about 2 kilometers per hour. But the big thumbs up from me so far is this. There really is no rattling noises at all, and I hate it when bikes rattle, but this bike, so far the T1, no rattles. So how's it going to handle a little bit of rough stuff? Just up ahead, a few stones, not a problem. And rattling, well, a little bit of a clanking noise coming from the front shock, but that's it. And my climb test spot. So I think it's going to fare really well here, because it's got the 27.5-inch wheels, and then the up to 500 peak watt motor. I can actually see it's now pulling 526 watts maximum according to the display, and I'm in the second gear at the moment, and I'm going up this with absolute ease. So I can even go up a few gears here to the third, to the, actually no, I'm in the fourth gear now, and not a problem. Still pulling that around 530 watts maximum. So you have to put a little bit of effort in, but it's not bad considering this is about 25-degree climb. Braking test, so I'll do approximately 30 kilometers per hour, and as soon as I hit this post, full-on brake. So now, oh, very easy to lock up that rear. So that braking performance, it's okay, it's average, but like I say in so many of my videos, I really do think it does need hydraulic brakes. They would be a lot better than the mechanical disc brakes we do have. And instead of 160 millimeter, they could also put 180.